Good afternoon, good evening, good night from wherever you are all over the world. So I wanted to address a topic. As you guys know from my previous videos, I moved from the United States, Florida. Now I live in Nigeria. I'm one of the passport bros. One of these passport bros that took my resources and life overseas um, to live. I'm very, very happy where I am, very happy in the environment that I am right now. So I'm thankful. It's a journey. But I wanted to address something. I put a post on one of these Facebook groups, these Passport Bro groups. Made a post, and there's a recurring thing that I've been noticing, right, by American men. American men always saying, "Oh, I'm not going to Nigeria. Nigerian women are feminist. I heard Nigerian women are feminist. I dated a Nigerian girl in America, and she was feminist. And so, yeah, don't go there. Nigerian women are feminist." So I want to address this topic. So we all know feminism came from Western countries, right? We know the damage that it's done to the society, to women, to men, and just to families in general, and the kids that are a product of a feminist household or just a feminist society. We've seen the detriment of what it's done. I'm not gonna mention that word too much so that YouTube won't flag my video. I'm gonna use the word womanist instead of the F word. So I've dated Nigerian women. I'm in Nigeria right now again. My girlfriend is Nigerian. I date a ton of Nigerian girls. And I would say a lot of information that a lot of Western guys have is based on a few things. First of all, I would say if you date a Nigerian girl in the United States of America, of course she's not going to be traditional. I don't think a lot of these guys even think about that or even think in general, right? If you date a Filipino woman in America, I mean, chances are that she has adopted some of those toxic womanist, misandry, traits that are there. It's in the media, it's in the social media, it's at work, it's everywhere you go. It's the reason why they're pounding it in people's heads. So I asked a brother, I said, why did you think Nigerian women are womanist? He said, "Oh, I dated one. I dated one in Washington, D.C., and she was worse than an American woman." And I said, "Of course she is. She was probably even born there. She was probably born and raised there. Do you know where she was born? Does she speak the native language? There are tons of kids there in the U.S. or in the U.K. or whatever Western country you are. They say, "Oh, yeah, I'm Nigerian, but were not born in Nigeria, or maybe they were born in Nigeria, they left when they were a kid, so all they know is the Western ways. That's how they grew up. Some of them were born there. Some of them were taken there when they were a child. So all these factors you have to put in, but I don't think a lot of guys really think, and I think it's just a lot of people and I'm going to say this the harsh way, a lot of people in the Western world, especially a lot of these guys in these groups, are really ignorant, really, really ignorant. Like the questions that they ask about Africa, grown men that supposedly went to school, is just, it's mind-boggling, okay? You could take any woman out of their natural habitat. You could take a Russian woman, a Ukrainian woman, or Brazilian woman, or any woman that came from traditional values to the Western world, especially the US, and she can easily lose those values in the first even 5 years of being in those countries. So all of these factors you guys have to think about. And another thing that some brothers what were saying when I asked them, why do you think Nigerian women are feminists? They said, oh, my friend dated one, and oof, he said she was bad, and he said she was really bad, and she was a feminist, and she was just like American chicks. So another thing that I notice about American men, especially in these travel bro spaces, is a lot of these guys, especially the ones you guys that haven't traveled, you haven't got your passport, you haven't been anywhere, you haven't been to any country, or you've been to Colombia like for a weekend. That's not exposure of traveling. Traveling is, extensively traveling and immersing yourself in different cultures, not just going messing with two girls for a weekend and being a passport pookie or whatever. That's not what traveling is. Traveling is immersing yourself in different cultures. A lot of these guys are really ignorant to what's going on outside of the U.S., which is very sad. So if you go by he said, she said, this guy said, and you run with it, it's really ridiculous. It's not a man-like characteristic for you to just go by what another man says. Like a true masculine man, you're supposed to go get your passport and go and travel and find out for yourself. But a lot of you people have written a lot of these countries off because of what someone said, or because you've dated a woman from that country and she was a feminist. You know what I mean? And you're judging all those women in those countries by the few handful of the ones that are in that same society that we're telling you not to bring those women. So are you guys even, reasoning about this? So let's bring it to Africa. Let's bring it here. Women on average here grew up in a family setting. So, mother, father in the household. I have to explain this because a lot of you people in the Western world don't even fathom that countries have this, these values of marrying before carrying, and that kind of solidifies and that kind of defines who the human is gonna be, right? The household that you came from, the society that you came from. Also, another thing that you have to realize that I don't think a lot of men realize when they say women from Ghana are feminists or women from Nigeria are feminists. What you people don't realize is feminism can only survive in ultra modern, ultra Western, ultra woke societies that the government have created a bubble it's a bubble. It's not reality. Every time you feed people with propaganda, every time you brainwash people to let them live in an unnatural state, you have to keep them in a bubble. You can't have them fending for their lives and keeping them in a bubble. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like you have to create incentives like no for divorce and child support system and warfare. That's how, welfare. That's how you keep people brainwashed. That's how you are able to put that poison in them. You don't have that in Africa. You don't have that in Nigeria. You don't have welfare. You don't have divorce. Women are not incentivized for leaving their husband, right? Women can leave, but they're not incentivized. Women don't get paid child support. There's no welfare system here. There's no food stamp, Section 8, none of that. So you have to realize that when you want to look at other countries to live in or other countries to visit, the less westernized the country is, the less feminist. There's feminism everywhere. It's gonna spill. It's gonna spill over. The U.S. There's social media. The U.S. has done a good job, but doesn't mean that women there in those countries are like the women in the States. So you guys have to realize that. Your typical woman here comes from a two-parent household. She was taught traditional values. Your everyday women here are traditional. Even the women that that adopt the Western mindset, right? They're still traditional. They still believe in a man should provide, and a woman should take care of the household, take care of the kids. That's just how it is here. You don't have to fight women here for that. Your everyday Nigerian woman is not thinking she's a queen or like all those women over there in the US think. They don't think like that. You know, it just depends on is she with you for you? Is she with you for your resources? And even if she's with you for your resources, you know, she's gonna give some value, right? She's gonna give some traditional values because most of them grew up traditionally. Most women here, you know how to cook. They know how to hold their own, so they'll automatically take care of you, you know. And the ones that don't, if you have enough resources, you know, that could, you know, you can hire if you live here, you can hire a maid, a cook, and all of that could be outsourced. And your woman can take care of that and kind of overhead and all of that. A lot of people do that here. So the notion that, you know, American men saying, "Oh, Nigerian women are feminists," it's totally false. It's totally false. I mean, all of the women here traditional and, you know, and all good? No, of course. I mean, you go to any country, you see they're gold diggers, they're women that only want you for your resources and blah blah. But in general here, women here are very traditional. You can easily find a woman to marry here, as compared to the U.S. You can't even compare. You can't even compare. Women here are down to earth. You can. You can talk to a woman on the streets. You can approach a woman on the streets easily, even if she doesn't have time. I want to talk to you. You know, she'll, she'll turn you down in a more respectful way. Women here are very respectful in general. People here are very respectful in general. In general, so you can't combine or you can't judge those African or Nigerian women over there in the UK, US, or Canada or whatever Canada, and those that have adopted that mindset. You can't use that to judge 200 million people. Nigeria has a population of over 200 million people. There's 36 states in this country in Nigeria. Beautiful, definitely beautiful country, beautiful states. You can go anywhere. If you want to Igbo, if you want to choose from a tribe, you can just go to those tribal areas and stay there and choose a woman from a traditional household, right? If you want to go to the village, if you don't want a city girl, you can go to the towns or the villages. You have to go deep in the villages, find someone. So if anybody tells you that, oh, Nigerian women are feminist and this and that, it's really false. I know we have other travel bros in different parts of Africa, like I think O'Shea is in, O'Shea Du Jackson is in Uganda. He can say the same thing. I mean, not every girl that he meets there or every girl that I meet here is gonna be marriage material. Actually, most girls in Lagos that I meet are not to my standards as far as marriage, but dating and everyday interaction, yeah, of course. I don't really sense feminist like standoff-ish arrogance like the women in the U.S. have, So, I'm trying to explain these things to you guys because you guys don't understand. A lot of you guys are still ignorant to what's going on outside of the U.S., right? You pick those women there and you judge by millions of women that have never been there that still hold the values of the country in the country. So I think you guys do make that mistake a lot. Another thing here is women here will definitely take care of you, right? They'll take care of you. If they don't put you first, if a woman doesn't put you first, don't date her. Don't marry her. You choose a woman that puts you first, so you put her first. Choose a woman that knows her role in the household. And you have a lot of those to choose from here, from different tribes, different languages. Everybody speaks English, of course, and we speak Pidgin, and you have over 300 different dialects and tribes here in Nigeria. It's easy for me to get along with everyone. Everyone speaks English. People are, I can walk down the street and have a 10-minute, 20-minute conversation with a stranger, a woman, without wanting anything from her, with her not wanting anything from me. Another thing is, not, a lot of people do want to leave here because the economic situation is bad, but not everyone wants to leave here. Not everyone wants a green card. Just because you come here and you're American doesn't mean they want to leave with you because you have a green card. I mean, I know you Americans, a lot of Americans are so arrogant and think, oh, all these other countries like Philippines, all this, and I hear all these women, using this as shaming tactics, or they just want you for a green card. Not everybody wants you for a green card. A lot of people want to stay here with where their family is. Not a lot of women here have jobs. A lot of women here have businesses. Some of the neighbors here have BMWs. The women here have, there's a woman down there that drives a G-Wagon. A lot of people are successful, right? In Nigeria, women can do whatever they want. They can vote, they can get married, they can own businesses, so it's not oppressive, right? Like you think it is. You people really have to educate yourselves about these other countries. You can't just judge by the women that you meet in those countries, in the country that you are. You can't just date a Nigerian girl in America and think, oh, American women. I heard they're feminist. This is what the comments are. I'm addressing these things because a lot of you guys, it's like you guys are used to being lazy mentally. Everything they tell you, you believe. Oh, I heard this, I heard that. I heard women in this country are bad. It's like, I've never seen a country that generalizes more than we Americans. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's a very bad habit. Very lazy, mentally lazy people. Most of you travel bros still know nothing about geography. Geography. You don't know how many countries are in Africa, how many countries are in Europe. You don't know the basic geographic regions of different areas. You think everybody's the same somewhere. Some of you do think Africa is a freaking country. It's a continent. You can't just say women, oh, Nigerian women are feminists. It doesn't work that way. The system here is not in place for women to be that way. Plus the values here, the traditional values still hold people to a certain degree of standards. You understand what I'm saying? So it's impossible for that to happen. You can't just think America is just exporting feminism everywhere in the world. Like, yeah, there is, but it's in the grand scheme of things, a woman is still going to rely on you to provide, just like they are in the U.S. As modern and as first country as the U.S. is, women are still looking for men with more money. So I don't care what anyone says, like, oh, these countries are poor, they just want you for your money. Have you seen the U.S.? Most of these women date based on how much money you make. So make it make sense. The difference is, what are you getting in return? These women say, I won't date a guy that makes less than 100 grand a year. I won't date a guy that makes less than this and this and that. Women here won't even ask you what you do for a living. I've been dating my girlfriend for 2 years. She still doesn't know what I do for a living. In specifics, she doesn't know. I explained it to her once. She wasn't even interested in knowing. Imagine. They just want you to be gainfully employed. They don't want you to be a bum, right? They don't care about specifics about how much money you make. They don't have that mentality. You guys need to start thinking that everybody in other countries think like the women there. That's your problem. That's why you guys are still in America, because you think all these women are the same. I know I'm talking fast. But you need to keep up. Keep up. You need to stop thinking everybody's the same, because women are like that over there. Oh, feminism is all over the world, so I don't need to travel. Yeah, you do. It's not all over the world. And if it is, it's in pockets. It's not enough that you talk to a woman in 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 50 even will be like a full-blown feminist. And I mean, you won't even, there's no system in place to hold them to that kind of standard. That delusion doesn't work here. It doesn't work all over. It doesn't work in Ukraine. There's definitely wars over there. It doesn't work in certain countries. That's why you can still go to Thailand and Colombia and all these places and get a beautiful wife. And even Nigeria. Yes, you can find a beautiful wife here if you come here to Nigeria. But you guys are so stuck in your heads You're leaving stupid comments about, oh, yeah, I heard there's feminism, yeah, too, the women there. But I would say the disadvantage, there's one disadvantage. Is one thing that I really, really dislike that West African women do is the wigs. The wigs, some of them wear those lashes, and the extra long nails, and the bleaching of the skin that some of these women do. That's one thing that I would say is that thing. That's one of the few things that I would say I really dislike about African, West African women. If y'all can get rid of the wigs, okay? Those wigs came from, this American woman and just black women in general. That you don't need to wear weaves. Your natural hair is good. Your natural skin color is good, right? Just work out, be feminine and just keep doing what you're doing. Stop bleaching your skin to look like your colonizers. It's very bad. Extra long nails and lashes. Y'all need to cut that out. That's the only thing. And another thing is, just love for money. Like a lot of women here love money. Like literally love for money. A lot of women ask you for money without even meeting. Not all, not all, not most. Some women will ask you for money. Like you literally like they're some women will even think you're their ATM as soon as you start dating. I dislike that as well. Any kind of sense of entitlement. I'm not entitled to a woman's anything, and a woman is definitely not entitled. My throat is dry. So that's the only disadvantage that I'll say that people should look out for. If you meet a woman and she prioritizes money and start asking for money, all of a sudden her grandma died, all of a sudden her cousin died when you met, all of a sudden she just lost her job when you met, and if it's not legitimate, I think you should shy away from those kind of women. There are plenty of women to go around that won't look at you as an ATM, or won't wear wigs, or won't bleach their skin. That's the only thing that I would say. But for the most part of it, you can easily, and most of it's in Lagos, because Lagos is like the big capital state. Big economy, the biggest economy in the country is here. But you can go outside of Lagos and find way better, calm women, right? Lagos has a population of over 20 million, and Nigeria's population is over 200 million. So 10% of the population live in the state of Lagos. Lagos is not a city. Lagos is a state. So you still have, 90% of the population, half of that maybe a woman that you can, choose from. So I'm encouraging you guys, if you want to come to Africa, people need to stop getting your head that every people here or the women here are feminist or like the women there in the U.S. No woman in the world is worse than the women in the U.S. And I will add the UK, Canada, Australia to that, right? And some countries in Europe. So I wanted to put this to rest because I've seen it in comments. I've seen it in a lot of in a lot of different panels as well. I'm gonna put the record straight. I'm in Nigeria. I just moved here, right? I moved here from Miami, from the U.S. I live here, dated tons of Nigerian women, and before I moved here, I come every year. I used to come every year for a month. So, excuse me, my throat is a little dry. So I've interacted with dozens, like more than hundreds of Nigerian women, and I also have friends here. So I say, if you really want to date, if you really want to visit, if you really want to move here, I say come visit. Women are really, really easy to approach, really easy to approach. And that's it. That's my video for today. Please like, subscribe, comment. Coming to you straight and live from Africa. Peace. Until another one.